Okay, so last lesson we left off, you should have something that looks like this. We were counting the number of koalas that have conjunctivitis, the number that have cystitis, the number that were dead, and the number that were alive. And we did this using the COUNTIF function. Now, let's consider that we may want to know if there are koalas that have both conjunctivitis and cystitis. Now, in that case, we need to use a slightly different formula. So what we need to do, so let's say conjunctivitis and cystitis. Cystitis? We're going to say that's the correct spelling. So we're going to need to use, it's still a COUNTIF, but it's COUNTIF S, so COUNTIFs, which gives us the ability to do multiple criteria. So before, we looked at, in our data table, we might look at the conjunctivitis column, this one here. So again, we reference our data table. We open our square brackets, which is the brackets next to P on the keyboard. We are looking at the conjunctivitis column of the data table, and we looked for conjunctivitis, we looked if that was true in that. So that's what it looked like, didn't it? So it gives us the same result, except now, instead of COUNTIF, have COUNTIFs. Okay. Currently no real difference, but if we put another comma in at the bottom here, okay, you can see, and just a note here, you can see when I click around in here, it goes to different areas in bold. So the criteria range, that's the data that the COUNTIF function is going to look at. This criteria here is what it's going to look for. So it's going to only count things in this range here in the data table that are true. Okay, now criteria range 2, that's the second range that we want to look at. So in this case, we looked at conjunctivitis for the first range. Now the second range, we want to look at cystitis. Cystitis. That's a hard word to say. So we're going to change criteria range to be the data table column cystitis. Going to put a comma in, and the criteria for that is going to be true. So we want to know which koalas have conjunctivitis and have cystitis. We press enter, 768. Very good. The astute among you may have realized that these values might not be fully correct now, and we'll go through why that might be in the next video.